All right. Hello, everybody. Let's quickly do the sound check here. Hopefully, everybody can see my screen and hear my voice. I am trying a new sound system today. So please let me know if you can hear everything okay. So on the three services on Facebook and Twitch, and also on YouTube, if you guys could just chime in and let me know that you can hear me okay, we can go ahead and get started. I would like to apologize for not being on 2 Fridays ago. I think there was a little bit of a mix-up. So I am going to be on today and also on the 29th. And also possibly another extra one, depending on if a lot of questions come up about ZBrush 2020. As you know, I was a beta tester, or if you know or don't know, I did beta test ZBrush 2019 or 2020, and it was great. And I did generated some images from it, which you can see on ZBrush Central. And let me go there and go to. If you just go to ZBrush Central and look for, I think if you just scroll down here, you can probably see it in the latest listings. Maybe a couple of pages. Here we go. So here you can see that I made this image right here, which is basically done with some of the new capabilities of ZBrush 2020. And okay, cool. So it looks like Mel Casio is saying that everything is fine, and Santiago is also saying everything is fine, but I can't tell what service you're on. Because it's grayed out. So are you on Twitch or are you on YouTube? Or if you could just kind of type in Mel or Santiago, what service you're on. And again, if we can get somebody from YouTube, and if we can also get somebody from Twitch to just chime in and let us know. Okay, so Twitch is good. All right, fantastic. Thank you very much, Santiago. And then if you can, if anybody on YouTube and Facebook, I think it takes a little bit of time. There might be a little bit of delay, especially on Facebook, so we can wait a few seconds. YouTube is good. Okay, good. So Facebook will chime in, but I think if these two are good, I'm going to assume everything else is good. So anyway, these are images that I created. Just this is a speed sculpt. I did it in about maybe half an hour, and then I just did a little bit of work creating the skin, and I used the history capability in ZBrush, the new ZBrush, and I think it's called I forget the exact name of the brush, but I think if I go to pixelogic.com and go to 3D software, ZBrush, and 2020, it's one of the new capabilities. It's history recall. This one, I use that brush here to basically I did the skin really in kind of a used an alpha and kind of really carved into it, and then basically use history recall to kind of soften it up and have it come up in different areas. And I also used the adjust texture capability to adjust the texture and create a whole bunch of different versions of these. I intended to create more, but then I got distracted and moved on to creating this model, which basically was really great. I used a lot of the different features in the new version. One of the things that really helped with the gesture was the silhouette view and the 3D view. So it was really helpful in my getting these images done. So again, if you want to see these, they are all on ZBrush Central. So just go to ZBrush Central, look for Kermaco, and it's one listing, and it has all of the images on there. And so you can see the testing that I did, and this was a model that I created specifically for ZBrush 2020. And I used a whole bunch of different methods, some of the new features, some of the old features, and it was really fun to create this for the project. And of course, when we do beta testing and we work on a project, we discover things that we let Pixelogic know about. So again, always a fun thing to do. And if you are not on ZBrush 2020, you should be. It's really amazing. The new features are really nice. And if you already have a perpetual license, so basically if you have Let me see here, where is the buy option, so you can kind of see the different options. Nope, this is not what I'm looking for. But if you look at the different ways you can get ZBrush, if you have the existing license, then you can upgrade for free, which is nice. So if you have the perpetual license, that's what they call it. It's you can get it for free, the upgrade. And then also if you don't have ZBrush and you want to get the perpetual license, this is a good time to do it. I think they're going to have it for $100 less for a little while, so you can get that. And if you don't want to buy it, if you just want to subscribe, they also have a kind of a break on that. So on a monthly subscription, I think there's a $10 off thing. And on a 6-month subscription, there's a $40 off thing. So it's kind of a, it's kind of a nice time to get in if you haven't already. And if you already have, then you get the upgrade for free, which is one of the nice things about ZBrush, where they don't really charge you for an upgrade. They basically give you the upgrade for free. Okay, and so I use some of the Sculpt and Paint on Morph VV capabilities. Extractor brushes are really nice. And if you're interested in these capabilities, Pixelogic is doing some streams. I think they did a couple already. Not this one. But I think they're going to do, so Paul did his, which was really great. And then Solomon did his too on Thursday, which was really good. So last but not least, there's Joseph Drust that's going to do his next Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you haven't caught these, definitely catch them. These two are already on YouTube, and I'm really looking forward to watching Joseph's because he always has some good stuff to talk about. Okay, so how did I do the close was the question. Okay, so here, let me go back to the beta testing images. And let's look at the close here. So the close I did in one of, so are you asking how I made it the cloth look, or are you asking how I got this type of material texture on it? Let's see, who's asking this question? I am Knees. I'm Knees. Okay. So how do I get this look, you mean? It's actually pretty straightforward. So here I'll just go ahead and bring up, let's say, some sort of I'm going to do the similar kind of thing. Let's say I bring up a cube like this one. And to get that type of look, I basically tessellate this thing. So if I go here to polyframe, this is what it looks like. But then here under geometry, you can go to tessellation. So tessellate. And then you tessellate it, and then you start kind of playing around with the tessellation levels. It's a bit too much. That's good. I think sometimes you just get that kind of this cube look, but if you just go to, let's say, clay tubes here, turn on sculptress mode, and let me make this a little bit bigger. And I don't know, is this dynamic subdivision? Yeah, it is. So let me turn that off. So here, notice that I'm kind of starting to get that type of pattern already, right? So maybe I'll change my brush size to be a little bit bigger and do something like this, right? Okay, so you can kind of see that I am getting that kind of pattern. So that's how you start out. And again, here, when you smooth it, you get something even more like this, okay? And then what you want to do is to get that pattern inside. What you do is you go to the Z Modeler brush, right? And you do an inset. And you do inset each poly, and you just do border only. And so when you do that inset, oops, like this, and you have to do it for everything. So you have to do it for all polygons, and you do it this way, and then you get that type of a pattern, right? So here, let me turn off polyframe. So you can see I've basically got that type of a pattern, right? So it's really kind of a cool capability. I discovered this a long time ago with Sculptress, actually. And I have some works that have this capability. And then with Sculptress Pro, it's even easier to do that. So that's one way of doing it. And here, if I want these to be even bigger, so then I just choose a bigger brush here and smooth it out like that, right? And then again, just do that, and there it is. Right, it's pretty cool. So then you basically just sculpt the clothing, and then you tessellate it, and you just use this capability to get this look. Okay, so yeah, that's how you do it. And let me go ahead and delete this already. I don't need it anymore. And yeah, so that's how I did the dress here. So I did a top and a skirt and a kind of this thing hanging out, this cape behind her. And yeah, so you can kind of see that that's basically the way to do it. And the headdress I did using array mesh, and then the rest of it. This is actually this thing here is just the hand that comes with ZBrush. And I should also mention this. Actually, it's pretty cool. With the new version of ZBrush, they also have a Zizu, which is, so if you go into your lightbox here, and you go into, let's not look at those. If you just go into your, I think it's under project, or maybe tool. Hello. Let's do this one more time. Where are they? Huh. So, oh, maybe they're, let me do this again. Here we go. Okay, so if you go to project and you go to Zizu, they now have added like tons and tons of Z-sphere animals that you can use, which is really, really cool. So you can load these animals as kind of Z-sphere rigs, and then you can go in and actually, you know, sculpt them and work on them as well. So it's just kind of a really cool thing to have included in there. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because for that hand, I just basically went to, again, I went to project and mannequin, and I think there's a hand here. So I just used this hand. So that's the hand. That's just like, I sculpted it, I modified it a little bit, but that's basically just the hand. And the body is just a quick sculpt. And yeah, so there it is. And the head is another quick sculpt. I actually just bolted the head onto the body. Yeah. So made the base, kind of got some of this inspiration from 20s art because it's 2020. So I kind of used the Roaring 20s as my inspiration. All right, so, and you can see these on my Instagram as well. I posted them on my Instagram, and I think I posted some of them on Facebook as well. So enjoy, and it was really fun beta testing ZBrush 2020, and I'm glad now we have it in our hands and we can start working on it. So without, oh wait, there's a bunch of questions. All right. What's changing in Nudge Pixologic to add a polygonal lasso option in the next version? A polygonal lasso. Masking, selection, clipping. Hey, Amin, how's it going, man? I'm amazed that you're on this stream. I love your work. I always look at your work and think it's amazing. So thank you for being here. And yeah, I mean, I can talk to them. If you maybe private message me on Facebook and let me know exactly what you're looking for, and I can either connect you with them or I can actually, tell you if there's a way to do it. But yeah, yeah. If there, I mean, there's probably, maybe there's a way to do it. So if there is, I'll tell you how that works. And if there isn't a way to do it, I will definitely suggest it to them. They're always, well, thank you. That's great. They're always, they're always adding new stuff. They have their priorities, of course, but they do listen to customers. And, a gizmo was one of the things that customers had been asking for a long time. And finally, they did provide it. So, eventually they will, but they do have priorities that they're working on. Okay, so coming back to our topic at hand, the car here. I've done a little bit of work. So since that Friday, I came on to do a stream, but there was another person doing a stream, so I was not able to do it. So I did a little bit of work myself, not much, but maybe cleaned up some of these edges. And I also made a bunch of materials for car surface evaluation. So I found this one on ZBrush Central, where a person had actually created this these two images. So I used them as textures and made a material with them. So this is a material that I can look at the surface of the car and evaluate how the surfaces are transforming from one end to the next. And then I also made a couple of other ones. So there was another one he had, which was a reflection material. So there it is. And so this basically just kind of puts a reflected material on there so you can evaluate a surface. And so here I'm kind of again looking at the surfaces and seeing how they connect. And because when the car is finished, it's going to be looking at reflections on it. So a lot of car design, they use these types of evaluations to kind of see how light's going to bounce on the surface of the object. And for good measure, I did some zebra skins ones as well. So these are all just materials that I made. I made about 8 of them, and I'll make those available to you guys if you want them. Just send me or let me know in the chat, or either send me a message on Facebook, or just notify me, and I will make them available to you. They're just I think there's maybe 6 or 7 of them that I made, and they're really useful. But this one I basically just got from somebody had posted a thing on ZBrush Central on how to do this, so I just made it. He didn't have the material in there, but he did have the instructions on how to do it, so I just did it. And I really like this one. I think for hard surface, kind of smooth surfaces, this one works best. Another thing I did here is I kind of made this little thing here that will be the hinge for the canopy. I cleaned up the canopy a little bit, and also I added a border to it. So let me see if I can go to that and put on transparency. So I created this kind of little border, and this is just a simple extraction from the window. And so I created one on the inside and one that goes around the glass. And these are things that you see in a car. So these are just simple extractions from the canopy. So I just basically took the canopy and took its topology and just extracted out these outside edges, and just made 2 separate pieces from that. And if you guys don't know how to do that, let me know. I'll show you. Okay. All right. Yeah, definitely catch up with me on DM, and we'll make it happen for you. One way or the other. Hopefully it's already there. Hopefully there's a trick to do it. 9 times out of 10 when I go to Pixelogic and ask them for something, they tell me it's already there and show me how to do it. So hopefully this is one of those things too, and it will make your life easier. Okay, so here's kind of, again, we're talking about the canopy and the kind of the borders that I made for it. I worked a little bit on the drone, and I also cut out an area for it in the back. So here, if I hide the drone and start working on the drone a little bit too. So let me go ahead and close the interior here. I think this is the drone right there. Let me hide it. And I think I've got another one here. Okay, so I created the scoop for it. Let me turn off transparency so you can see it. So I made an area for where the drone goes. And I did a little bit of sculpting in there, not much. Let me see if I can hide the poly paint on this. I made this part black so it kind of shows through. So all the black parts are just this part right here that's going to show through, and I'll hide the poly paint. So here I sculpted the area where the drone is going to launch from, right? So when it launches, this area is the way it is. And I'm considering maybe putting in a little piece that comes up so the car is still aerodynamic when the drone launches off of it. And let's leave this, actually let me turn the poly paint on because it kind of makes the car look cooler. So here basically are the cut lines. This is glass. So I kind of did a little bit of work. I named everything correctly. So I went ahead and named everything, deleted all the parts I didn't need, put all the builder parts somewhere else. So that's basically where we are. And I started to look at this in Keyshot. So Keyshot came out with a new version as well, which I'm going to show today. And also on the next stream, we're going to go ahead and start texturing this thing and loading and creating a kind of a composition with it. So here, let me see. I don't need both of these, although that did create kind of a cool thing, but I don't need both of these drawings. This is the one. Right, so so let's go ahead and take a look at what this would look like in Keyshot. So let me turn Keyshot on, go to BPR. So at this point, I've got what I have here, and let's kind of do a quick evaluation in Keyshot. And I gotta say, Keyshot is really nice. This new version with GPU rendering, especially if you have a one of the newer GPUs, it's screaming fast. And so let's just go ahead and wait for Keyshot to load, and then I'll bring it into the screen. actually it's receiving all the parts now, so we have to wait a couple of minutes. And in the meantime, let me bring up the chat here to see if there are any questions. Okay. All right. Easy. Well, you should watch the previous episodes. It'll help quite a bit. So if you go to ZBrush Live, and let me bring up the browser window that has all this good stuff in it. So if you go to ZBrush Live right here, and so ZBrush Live basically is showing the stuff now, but if you go to my page, so you go to presenters and you go to me, right, and you scroll down, you can see the previous episodes of where we got here. So we'll start out with and this is the previous season, and then when the previous season ended, we started with the car. So season 2 episode 1 is where the car started, and then we moved all the way to episode, today's I think 8, and we'll have 9 and maybe possibly 10. I'm not positive yet. All right, so Keyshot loaded. Let's go ahead and bring that in and dock it. Okay, so here I'm just going to go ahead and turn on GPU so you guys can get an idea of how fast this is going to be. So here now I'm in GPU mode, and it had a little bit of a challenge with this material, but it's fine. I'm probably not going to use that material. And there's a little bit of a thing here with Keyshot that it doesn't recognize the Maya keys right away. But let me go ahead and start changing these materials to something better, right? So first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to just link all these materials together. And let me do this one more time, see if Keyshot resolves itself. No, that's fine. Okay, so now I just have one material, and I'm just going to go ahead and make that a rough gray material. So this is what the car looks like now. And notice how fast it renders. Like I let go and it's done, right? And I don't even have the denoiser on. So when you see these dots, if I turn the denoiser on, then I'm just basically getting this result, this render, just like when I let go. It's almost real time. It's so close. It's really exciting. Okay, so now what I'm going to do here is go ahead and start separating out. So I'm going to unlink the windows, unlink this one, and unlink this one. So now I'm just basically unlinking the parts that are going to be transparent. And for those, I'm going to go ahead and choose a glass basic and just choose maybe this kind of glass. That's good. And pop glass over here, and there's glass down here, right? So these parts are going to be glass, right? So also, do I have a ground plane? I do. I don't need a ground plane. I'm going to turn that off. Okay, so now I basically have the way the car is going to look, right? So now I can see it from the bottom, and I can see it from the top. This is glass, this is glass. I decided not to have glass on the door. It just wasn't working, so the door is just going to be a solid piece like this. And if I want to, and I haven't decided on this yet, I'm still kind of contemplating it. This is going to be the door hinge, but maybe this could be glass here too, right? So, so this could be kind of a door hinge in here, but it's also glass. I have not decided on that just yet, but we'll, probably maybe today I'll decide on it. So at this point, I can have, I have my model pretty much in a good state. I'm going to make the glass a little bit clearer here. That's too dark, right? And so I kind of have an idea of what it's going to look like, and I can evaluate the lines here, and I kind of like the way they are. I'm going to unlink this inside part. And I'm going to go ahead and edit that material and make it darker color. Right, I'm just going to make it a darker gray so it kind of separates it out. And at this point, it's just like a primer, and I'm just looking at different surfaces, seeing what looks good, if there's anything I need to fix. It's always good to load it into render at this point and take a look at it. And if this looks good, then I start going, okay, well, let's go ahead and put this car in a car type setting. So let's go ahead and load an exterior environment. So let's go to outdoors here and just throw in this one. Okay, so this is now in a more realistic environment. And I don't really need to see the environment itself, so I'm just going to put in a kind of a generic gray color as the background, and then I can start evaluating this more in kind of a real setting. And then I can start looking at materials and car paint type materials. So there's quite a few that come with Keyshot. So let's go ahead and take a look at, I think if we go to paint here, I think they're metallic paints, and let's see, candy coat, classic, or traditional. Let's look at classic colors here. And let's just throw in kind of a shiny gray material on the car, like that. And that looks good. Let's maybe choose more a colder color, cooler color. And I'm going to turn the denoiser off for now. And so here we are. We're looking at what the car kind of looks like in a metallic way, and we can choose some colors here. So let's go to some strong colors here, classic colors, maybe some basic colors. Let's see what it looks like in blue. Okay, so now I can kind of see what a blue, kind of a Blade Runner kind of car looks like. Oh man, I totally forgot. These back things here are glass too. So let me unlink them. Unlink material, copy material, paste material. All right. Okay, so now this is what it's going to look like, right? So these back parts are glass also. And yeah, so I'm pretty happy so far. Let's see what it looks like in red. So here it is in a metallic red. And as you can see, the resolution here of the GPU is really, really fast. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. All right, nice work. Takes quite a lot of time, but is it worth it? Easy. I don't know what you mean by is it worth it, and what do you mean by it takes a lot of time. Maybe you can let us know. Is this a pod racer? No, this is more from the Blade Runner world, not the Star Wars world. But it could, I don't know. I think it has more kind of a Blade Runner-y look. And I'm kind of going a little bit retro. It's not very kind of, it's more like a Ferrari than a Lamborghini. So it's kind of got more of a curvy look to it than a faceted look. And I kind of decided to go this direction at some point based on where we started. So let's go ahead and look at some other colors. So here, let's see what it looks like with cadmium yellow. Yuck. Let's go to red again. Here's another red. How about green? So you can see here, it really quickly kind of comes up with the results. And at this point, I'm pretty happy with the way the car is looking. So I don't really need to spend a lot more time in Keyshot. Let's go ahead and take a look at this color right here, maybe a little bit darker. Okay, so at this point, I'm happy with the way everything is looking. There's nothing that really sticks out as far as changes I need to make. So at this point, the body is done. What we need to do is start detailing it, detailing the surface, because right now the surface itself is really clean, right? And maybe what we want is we want to have it be have some details like a door handle, like maybe some intakes. These scoops over here are going to have certain things sticking out of them, lights and whatnot. So we're going to do some of that detailing. All right, so we're done with Keyshot. I'm going to go ahead and just close this out, not save it, and get back into ZBrush and start looking at the different things that need to be done. So the first thing I wanted to work on is to work on this drone. So I have a version of it right here that I straightened out, and what I'm going to do here is just duplicate that and then just move it out of this group like so. Where'd it go? Just move it down in the hierarchy here, just down below, and then move it down further to about there. Okay, so now on its own. And now we're going to go ahead and start adding some details to it. So at this point, I'm going to just go ahead and do a quick save and take a cup of tea or a swig of tea, and then also ask you guys if you have any more questions. Yes, easy. ZBrush 2020 is released. It released this Tuesday. And it's available, and you can get it. You can either, if you have ZBrush already, you can upgrade for free, and if you don't have ZBrush, they have a really good deal, so make sure you pick it up. All right, so now we have this drone here, and it's, again, really simple geometry at this point. I don't know if I've got it dynamically subdivided. Let's see here. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Dynamic subdiv. Where are you? Here we go. Nope, it's not. Well, good. So this is basically the geometry I have for the drone. And it's pretty simple. I've got the basic shapes ironed out. So now what we got to do is start adding some details. Now, a few things I'm going to do today. I also should talk about that. One of them is I bought a bunch of kitbash kits. So a bunch of different ones. So you can see here I've got them all loaded up like this. And then I just do the expose. And that exposes all of them, and then I just go in and just see everything here. You can see I've got all these different parts that I can choose from, and I can also choose them. So I've got, how many do I have here? I think I've got about 10 of them or so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, about 9 or 10 of them, right? So I've got all of these parts, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a lot of these parts in my model. So I bought these recently online from Gumroad. And I do have some of them. As you can see, some of them have issues. Like you can see this one's kind of connected to that one. So I have to look and see if these are ones I am going to use, and they're not. So at this point, I'll just go ahead and get rid of them just so they don't cause any issues. So here, I'm just going to go ahead and do a delete island. And so this one, I want to delete this one. Why is it not deleting? You can see here somehow these got connected to each other. By the way, I should mention that a lot of these, oh, I'm not on it. That's why it's not deleting. I should mention that these are not sub-D models. So they have a lot of, they're not really, you can see that there's a lot of issues. When I loaded them in, they had this, some of them had extra points or whatever. So those are parts. If I need to use them, I'll clean them up. But if I don't need to use them, I'll just delete them. So as you can see here, some of them have strands and whatnot. But a lot of them are really good, right? For example, this one I'll probably use as a light bulb. I'll show you in a minute. So there's quite a few that are really good. So this is kind of like in the Matrix when all the guns showed up and they chose the guns that they wanted. So I've got all these parts to pick from, and I could pick these parts to use as their as parts in the car, or I can use them to and it's probably better if I just solo these out so you can just see them one by one instead of seeing them all together. So these are just kind of floor panels that I got that were really useful, and there are these ones that are also floor panels, and I guess I'll just turn the go ahead and do the expose off. So they kind of merge together, and just go to solo. And so here they're all in the center. So here I can just go ahead and pick and choose, and I'll pick and choose and start putting these into the model. And so, I mean, some of these are meant for certain things, but some of them are not. So like I look at this one over here and I go, oh yeah, that looks like maybe it could be one of these modern light bulbs that's in a car. Maybe I can use this inside of one of those scoops to kind of be an inside part. So it's a good way to kind of go in and pick, and maybe I should choose a different shader. Let me go ahead and go back to basic material 2 here. So I can choose these and modify them. I never use things just right out of the box the way they are, just because, they might have a certain look to them that I don't want to replicate. So yeah, we'll be using some of these. Here's another bunch of ones, and these were like vehicle attachments, so I can maybe use this antenna piece. I can use this one. Looks like it would definitely work as like police lights on the vehicle. And so I'm just going to kitbash these on my car and just get kind of a cool look. And then there are these ones too that look like they would be good internal pieces. So if they're internal pieces that need to show when the door is open or whatever, then these could be the hinges or whatever, so I could use these. So I'm basically going to use these a lot, and then I'm also going to use some primitives. And I was going to mention this to you guys the other week, but I basically created a couple of primitives brushes for ZBrush. So there's this one, which is the core, which is available for free, and I'll tell you how you can get it. So this basically has a bunch of primitives that you can start from. So here, let me just go over to a star here. By the way, this thing right here, this cam view that they came out with is really nice. It's super, super useful. It's one of those things where you wonder how you got along not using something like this all the time. And also the silhouette view is really nice too. So I should just mention those two things because they come up a lot. So here, I basically created all of these primitives so you don't have to go in and initialize stuff. So I basically have for you some cubes, spheres in different levels of detail, hemispheres, and whatnot. So basically the way you use these is you just go to move, right? And then you just pick the one you want. And there it is. And they all have polygroups on them as well, right? So here I've got kind of a medium cylinder. And notice that this cylinder is all quads. So you can add edge loops around it. There's this one. There are these pipes. So there's a bunch of different ones. So there's a basic one that has, I think, a bunch of them on there. Here, I'll show you the page you can get these on. They're basically on Gumroad. So here, I think this is where it is. So if you just go to gumroad.com/Kermaco, so the 15 ones you can get for $0. So you can just download this for free. And then I also have one that I use personally, and I call it the Pro one, which has some extras. So all of these are in the Pro one, but it's got some extra ones as well. And if you go to these pages, right, if you want to find out more about them, I actually have YouTube videos on what they do and how to use them, right? So I've got a YouTube video there on how to use them. And then it also has a detailed bit of information about what's included. And the Pro one's like $2.50, so I just thought I would charge a little bit for it. But most of the folks probably can get along with just using this one. But again, it's up to you. So Kermaco.com or gumroad.com/Kermaco is where you can go to get them. And if you forget, you can always go to my website and click on Gumroad on top, and it will link you to this page. All right, so anyway, so this one is the one that has all the basic primitives, and then I have, again, the one, I basically load that with ZBrush, which is the Pro version, which has all these basic primitives as well, but it has some other interesting kind of spheres, and has hemispheres. I mean, everything so far I think is included except those two spheres, which I don't know if everybody needs those, and the pipes, the pills, and whatnot. But it's got this shape, which is kind of useful. And let me turn double on so you can see it. So this shape, it's got this shape that I use all the time. So something like this, for example, just with using inset here and border only and inset all polygroups like this. Whoa, what that happened there? That's weird. Do I have inset all poly? Oh, let's just do all. Let's do island, border only, inside each poly. That's kind of interesting. It shouldn't be doing this. I don't know why it is. Let me do this. Let me do one other thing here. That might be causing the issue. I don't think it is, but just for kicks. Yeah, that was the issue. Okay, so you can create grates like this. And with the pipe version of that, right, so if you go to my brush here and use this one, for example, and let me just replace it with this one. Right, and this one does a similar thing where you can create this type of, let me unify that one too. There it is. Okay, so you can get this kind of a look with that. So this could be useful too. Like you might want to put this around some sort of a pipe as something where you don't want somebody to touch a exhaust pipe or something like that. So it's got all these and plus a bunch of other really cool things like this right here. And I talk about these in the YouTube video, so I don't really want this stream to be an advertising. But I got a bunch of different things that I use all the time, so I just put them all in one brush. And then it makes my life easier. And then I thought, you know what, maybe I should share this with the rest of the world too, and I did. Okay, so let's delete this. And let's go back to our drone here that we're going to work on. And let me take a quick look to see if there are any questions. Okay, I'm a designer from Moscow. Okay. Okay, thank you, BoxTArt, and welcome aboard. And I think there is a icon there that is a, I can't really see what it is, it's too small. It would steps, and I don't know where to stop the piece. I hope I'm okay. Easy, you know, it's one of these things where there's a lot that goes into one of these things. I mean, you know, there's understanding ZBrush, there's fundamentals of art, there's years and years of knowledge that goes into this. You have to start somewhere, of course, but over time you get better and better. Can I make a link on your site to your work? BoxTArt, I don't understand what you mean by that. If you can maybe say it in a different way, I can help out. Okay, so now we've got this drone and we're going to start working on it. And for this one, I'm going to use another thing that I purchased a while back, which is Chi Vang's decal 3D decal brush. And let me show you what that is. And I got that on Gumroad too. It's this one. And it's right here. So he's got a free version as well that you can get 10 of these decals for free. And he's also got one for pay, which is $20. And I think that's the best $20 you can spend. They're really cool. You'll see them in a minute. And then, I think this is for studio. You're not a studio. If you're just an independent artist, this is what you should get. But even before you get that, get the free version and try it out. And you'll see how this is really useful. So here for my drone here, I'm going to go ahead and create a scoop, right? So where it basically sucks in air and then ejects it out from the back. And so what I'm going to do here first is let's go ahead and make a folder for it. So drone, spell this correctly. Okay, and so I've got a folder for it. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm just going to create a boolean folder with that. And so now I've got that. Here I'll start scrolling through these different shapes to find something that will work well as that kind of scoop. This looks good. This looks good. This is perfect. So I'm just going to choose this one, right? So here it is. And I'm going to pop that. Okay, why is it complaining? Does it have multiple subdivision levels? It does. So I'm just going to go ahead and subdivide this down to, let's see, is this good enough? Maybe, yeah, I'll just keep it at the subdivision level. So here I've just basically, I'm isolating my model to this subdivision level. And then I'll just go ahead and add that scoop like this. Okay, and if I want to see what this looks like, I can by turning on live boolean and separating it out. But I just want to make sure I chose the right size. I think this is good enough. And then I'll just split the masked points or unmasked points. Let me just split those out. So there's that piece. I'll subtract it. I have live boolean on, and I'll turn solo off. I guess I should turn the car off. I don't need to see the entire car right now or the interior. I just need to see this drone. And let's turn polyframe off. Okay, so here's that scoop, right? So in one kind of shot, I basically added the scoop and I can move it around to place it where I want it to go. That looks good. I can change the scaling of it a bit. And there we go. Done. Scoop. Bam. One shot. So how beautiful is that, right? So now I'm basically done with that. Now I need an exhaust in the back for the air to go out. So I switch back to this and let's see if there's something that will work for that. If not, I'll use the same one and I'll just change it around. Nope, I'm going to use the exact same thing. I'm going to use the exact same piece. I'm going to put it in the back like this, right? And notice that it is conforming to the surface. And Chi in his instructions tells you how to do that. And I want to rotate this. Whoa, I should turn symmetry off for now. and rotate this around. So I want it to go this way, like this. Maybe I will put it in that way. How about that? And oops. Okay, so here we are, and we're gonna pick this one. Oops. Go to draw mode, pick it, and then just draw it out like this. Let me turn symmetry back on so it's right in the middle. And I want it to be right there, like that. Okay, so that's good. And again, I'll just do the same exact thing. I will split hidden, or split unmasked points. There it is. Put this on subtract as well, and there's that back part. And now I don't really think this is going to work. Oops. So what I'm going to do is change the scale of it and move it out this way. And I think this is looking a little bit better. Maybe move it back like so to here. And that's looking a little bit better. Maybe move it out. All right. So I might need, oh no, here we go. Right there. Okay, so now that's done. Right, so now the airflow is coming in through there, and I don't really need to create the entire airflow or the engine or whatever, so that's good enough. And then I'll look at the top and see if there's any other details here that might look good on this drone. So it probably needs some optics, and let's see if something good can work for this, and if it doesn't, I'll just add a kitbash part for that. Let me see if I have any questions. So no questions. Wow, quite a few people watching. Welcome. If you're just joining us, we're basically continuing the Blade Runner spinner that we've been working on for the last 7 episodes of the season. Excuse me. And so now what we're working on is a little drone that flies off of the car to go explore, or maybe, you know, I think he actually crashed it into one of the enemy cars too. All right, so for optics, maybe let's look at this, see what that does. Let's move on to this piece again and draw these out like so. Okay, and I don't know what these are going to look like. They look too much like eyes. I want it to look more mechanical, maybe not there. Let's see if I can put them here. Nope. I don't think I'm liking that, so let's go ahead and see if there's something else that'll work. I like these. Maybe put some of these over here, see what that looks like. Okay, so that's good. Again, let's go ahead and split it out. And let's put these on subtract. And move them around. Oops, not the car, but this. Move it around to see if it makes sense. Where it is. That's good. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. Right there. Maybe not. Okay, so let's get rid of that one. Right, so I like these parts. I might add them to it later. These parts are kind of cool too, but I like this. I think this is kind of a cool looking thing to add to the top, like that. But I don't really want it to go in. I want it to go out. So what I will do is go ahead and do the split unmasked points again, and what I'm going to do is here not subtract but add this, and so it looks like that. That looks a little bit funny, so let's see if it looks any better if that's not what I'm working on. I'm working on this one, and make it elongated like this, and move it over to here, and maybe separate it out a bit like that. So now that shape is completely different than what he had. And I'm going to press it into the body so just this top part shows up. Okay, that's cool. No, it looks too much like an airplane now. Let's see if this looks any better in the back. No, how about on the bottom? There we go. Yeah, that looks cool. Push it in a bit. There we go. All right, so now we've got this kind of going that way, and then we can add parts to this. So I'll see if there's any parts to add to that that might look cool. And then he's got a bunch of different parts. So if you get the full kit, then there's a lot of really cool stuff in here that you can use. I'm just making sure that they're ones that I need. These ones always look cool, but I don't want to kind of exaggerate on these just yet. Hexagons, really cool designed hexagons. There's this pattern here. So I think we've kind of exhausted these for the drone. I think we've got some good things going on here. We can always sculpt on the body as well. So I think maybe at this point I'll just divide it a couple of times. Like that. And then I will go ahead and maybe push, let me go to the move tool here and push this part. Okay. Right, and push this part in a little bit like this. Oops. Where'd those rabbit teeth come from? Let me see here. Okay, here we go. All right, so if I do this, then this shows up better underneath. And by the way, these look better when you do dynamic subdiv on them. So here I'm just going to go ahead and do dynamic subdiv on all these. So always yes. So that's dynamic subdiv, that's dynamic subdiv, and this is dynamic subdiv. So now you can see this looks a lot cleaner. Okay, and now I can just go over to this one here and maybe choose Damien standard and choose a smaller brush size. Oops. Like so, and maybe let's see, I want to create a bigger lazy radius, maybe about 30, and let's go ahead and make some paneling on here. So let's say this paneling comes in this way, like that, crosses over. Okay, so I don't have enough detail. I need to subdivide my model one more time. Level 4, here we go. All right, so come over this way like this. Come over this way like that. I need to make my brush size even smaller just to get that cut. All right. Get this going like that, and then maybe this comes around like this and makes a little bit of a border for this cool sphere that we added. So here's a kind of an interesting thing, right? So I'm adding this, but I don't like it here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit Control and click on this over here and say, remember the way it was here. And then move over to over here, right? And then use History Recall. So this is the new History Recall brush. And again, it's just one of these things where, you know, you start out, okay, the current brush cannot be used while symmetry, oh, okay, so let's turn symmetry off. And now notice here, I don't like that curve part, so I can just erase that curve part. This is so cool, right? So you basically don't have to erase the whole thing. You can just erase it to the point where you are happy. So about there. Okay, now that's good. Now I can go back to my Damien standard brush. And again, it's just these things that really make ZBrush such an amazing tool, is that like you start using something, they come up with a new feature, and you start using it, and then all of a sudden it just, you know, you just go like, wow, how did I survive without this feature before? So here I'm just kind of creating a couple of panels for this part right here, like so. Okay, and I'm just going to use H-polish here to make these more of a panel, straight panel. There we go. All right, so now I've got this top part like this. And here, this is a good place to add a different part. So let me go back to cheese parts here, see if there's anything I can add over here that would look cool. I'm going to go through here. And, you know, with kitbash kits, you know, over time you start getting really familiar with them. This is relatively new, so I'm still kind of having to scroll through to find something good. Let's see. Maybe something like this would look good. Let's see if that looks good. Okay, so once again, I have to, what I'll do here is I'll just duplicate this. So I have all the previous subdivision levels. And for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and delete the subdivision levels, delete lower. And let me make sure that this is where the boolean starts. And I don't really need to see this one anymore. Okay, so we're good. And now I will just go ahead and draw this out. I think it's drawing two of them out because of the symmetry aspect. So I'm going to turn symmetry off and then do my best to put this in the center just by eyeballing it. Okay, so this is what this looks like. Yeah, I don't know if that's working. Okay, so that's a splash. How about, let's see. And I could make these bigger so I can see them better. Let's see, here we go. Maybe we can put like a, no, latch would kind of not be a good place for that. Maybe one of these things. Let's see if that works. All right, let's say that's going to be right there. Okay, good. Again, split unmask parts. There it is. And I will make this into subtract. And let's see how that looks. It looks okay, but I think it could be better. Let's see if I can move this around. It's still kind of getting that weird kink on top of here, so I don't think I'm going to use that. All right, so it's saving, so we'll let it save. In the meantime, I think there are some new questions. After adding those parts with boolean, how you're going to get clean topology? Okay, good question. It's sometimes you get lucky and ZBrush will work. Well, what's that? Okay, we don't want this. Okay, so actually this is kind of a cool thing now. I can cycle through, just happy accident here. I just took that part and now I'm cycling through the different parts to see if something fits. Once I get the booleans to be done, whoa, that's kind of interesting. Just kind of a big hole. How about that? Something completely unexpected, but I think that might work. Wow, yeah. But once I'm done and I basically generate the Boolean mesh, I can try using ZBrush with some of the new capabilities to see if that works. And sometimes it does. Sometimes it works really well. And sometimes it doesn't. So if it doesn't, then I have to manually retopologize, which, you know, is kind of a pain in the butt, but it works. And it's part of what we do, so I'll just do it that way. And if it works with just the direct ZBrush, then even better, right? So okay, so this is looking okay so far. And let me go back and start carving in some more into this with Damon Standard and a small brush size. So here, let's make sure symmetry's on. Okay, so I'm gonna go. I also want to make that lazy radius a little bit bigger. Let's just go to about 100. Okay, so I'm gonna go this way and just create another panel. Okay. I'm going to start from here. right? Because these things have to open up so they can repair them and whatnot. So that's not good. How about if we just do one that goes this way? Like so. And this way. This way. And like that. Okay, so that looks good. And I'm just going to continue it over in this direction. I could have used the history one, but it's easy enough to just do this manually. Sometimes it's better to get a bigger easy radius, lazy radius, and also it's good to stop every once in a while. With ZBrush's new feature, it'll pick it up from where you left off, so there's that. And bring it in this way. I think I'm going to make the lazy radius even bigger. I'm just going to go to the max. Let's go to 200. That way I get nice, cleaner, straight lines. There's that. There's that. Like so. Right, and just kind of maybe close it up this way over here. All right, so now that's basically looking a little bit better. And then I think detail-wise, do I need to do something in the bottom here? Maybe do a cool little cut up over here for a panel that opens up like that. Okay, and let me just connect these two up. Cool. All right, so now we've got all this stuff happening, and this is looking really good. I'm happy with it. These winglets are looking nice, and this drone is looking pretty cool. I think it'll be a good thing on its own. And let's go ahead and start adding some kitbash parts to it. So let's see, I think I... easy, show again how to get clean lines. Okay, so basically that's using the lazy mouse capability, and you can get that from, I think it's under is it on transform or is it under stroke? It's under stroke, I think. Under stroke there's lazy mouse, so you turn that on, and then here is the lazy radius, and that is how long that line is going to be, right? So you basically choose, the longer the line is, the more you can kind of pull on it until you get the shape that you want. So here, for example, if I want to add one more panel, let's do one more, and I'm just going to add another panel over here that goes maybe this way, like this way, this way, and this way. Right, so you can see how I'm just basically pulling that straight line, and then this way, and just close that off. Okay, and this is a perfect thing here for vents, so I'm going to go ahead and use some of those vent cool gizmos that he had over here. All right. Man, Chi did a great job with these. They're so good. I can't believe he is letting us use it. He's an awesome artist too. His work is pretty amazing. All right, so here we go. Let's say I want to use maybe this one. That looks good. And or this one right here. Okay, so I'm going to pop that on over here. See how that looks. I don't like it there. Maybe let's see if it works well on an angle like so. Okay. Man, I kind of like it just like that. Not even holes, just like sticking out like that. Maybe I'll make them bigger. Let's see if that works. Like they're these little sensors. Let's see if I can just get them to... Here we go. Yeah, that looks cool. All right, so I'll separate it out and I'll see how that how that comes out. So I'm just going to go ahead and split unmasked points here, and there they are. I don't want this to be its own boolean thing. And so if I subtract them, that actually doesn't look bad. But what if I don't subtract them? What if I just add them? Or just have them be separate parts like that? That kind of looks cool. I kind of like that look that they have. One other thing I might try, not with these guys, but with these guys, is what if I made them longer? Would that work? No, that really messed it up. All right, I'll just leave them as is. I don't know. I mean, I kind of like these things sticking out like this, but on the other hand, they are also oval shaped. So when I go to the side view, they have that look to them. So I'm going to abort these. Oh. Did I just delete something I didn't want to delete? I did. What did I delete? Did I delete something? I did the back scoops there, the front scoops there. I deleted something. I don't know what it was though. All right, so these are still there. I guess it didn't separate them out. So I'll just undo. All right, I'll just stick to that. Let's find another one here that we like. How are we doing on time, by the way? Oh my gosh, it's been an hour already. Jeez. All right. Let's see what else could look good there. I'm tempted to try this. Let's see what that looks like. I think a lot of these are meant for a flatter surface. So when I'm putting them on a curved area like this, they're not really conforming as well as they can. It's kind of cool, but maybe not. All right. What about these guys? Let's see what these guys look like. It's kind of cool. Let's see what that's like. Kind of like the way that that looks too, just like that. I think I'm just going to leave that as is. And, well, why not see what it would look like if we separate it out? So here I'm just going to go ahead and split unmasked points. There it is. And now I will just go ahead and subtract these and see what that looks like. That doesn't look bad at all. All right, and just move them, why not the jet, this part. Move these forward like that to here. And yeah, that looks okay. I like that. I'm just going to agree to keep that there. And then now we'll add some kitbash parts. Okay. You deleted a copy of the spaceship. Oh, is that what I did? All right. Did I delete the one that had the subdivision levels? Let's see. Yeah, no, I still have subdivision levels on this one, so I'm good. And then I just deleted one. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm fine. I don't care about what I deleted. Gladly, it wasn't something important. That's always good to quick save, by the way, when you're working, so that if you miss something, then you can you can always go back to your quick save and bring it back. All right, so we're pretty close to being done with this thing. Let's add some kitbash parts. So I'll go back to my matrix thing here. And click on solo. Let's see if there's any parts in here that look okay. No. How about here? Anything that could work, especially in that hole that we created? Is there something I could put in? I'm kind of liking this piece right here, this one. So I will remember that's a good one to maybe possibly use. And then let's see what else there is. With kitbash parts like this, over time you get to know them better as you use them. I'm a little bit new to these, so I'm going to be looking around. So pardon my exploration. Let's see. So here's that one that I liked, and here are a bunch of others that might work. And here we go. Probably there's something in here I can use. How about if we add one of these things to the top? That would be cool, huh? Or even this one right here. All right, let's try them. Okay, so let's try this one. So the best way to do that, ooh, what's this? Kind of like this hexagon one too. Let's try this one. So I'm just going to select that one and then split hidden points. So now I just have this part, copy it, and go back to the drone. Where, who? Oh, I'm on solo, that's why. Okay, so here it is. And then paste. I don't know where it put it. Wow, is this really, oh man, it's gigantic. So let's just make this more along the size of what we've got here. Much, much smaller. Right, there it is. Okay, and let's center it. This kind of looks cool right there. I mean, it's not aerodynamic, but we can change it. This would look cool on the bottom too. Like that, but we're not really going to see. It's clipping with the boolean stuff. Let's just move that up here so it's not gonna, doesn't get affected by the boolean. It would look cool, like we can just, oh man, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna put it over here. It works really well, like some sort of a underbelly radar type of thing. Okay, so once again, these are not sub D, right? They're really kind of, they're probably made with a CAD program or something. So what I'm going to do here is see if I can use ZBrush to do some interesting things with them. Okay, so the first cool thing to do is to just use extender. So let's see if I can do something cool with extender here, just kind of make it look more like this. So this changes it up a bit. So it's the same part, but it looks a little bit different, and I kind of like this a little bit more. So I am going to use that. An extender works in some ways and it doesn't in others, and so that's just going to go there. So that's kind of how the drone comes up, and it's got these radar dishes on the bottom. So that's that. I'm happy with that. I don't really know if I'm going to make any more changes. This is too long, so I'm going to use the extender again. Or actually, let me just see if I scale it, if it will work. It does. All right. The only part I'm worried about is this area over here, so maybe I'll scale a little bit this way. So this kind of looks like real panels, and it does. So there's that part this way, and I just want to make it look like it fits into that. So there is that part. And maybe this is something that comes out of this panel in here. Right, so it goes in and out of it. So I'm going to make it smaller like that. Okay, here we go. And I also want to extend this part out a bit too. So I'm going to use extender again. So let's accept what we've got and then start a whole other extender session here. Move this down. Come on, I want to grab that dot, move it down to here. About there, maybe a little bit higher, about the middle, right there, and then extend this out this way. That's good. Right, so I'm going to accept that for now and move this whole thing down like so. So even though, again, these are not sub D parts, I can maybe do some things to them to make it work. And then last thing I also want to do here is I want this to be bending backwards. So right now it's just a giant air brake. So it's for it to be more aerodynamic, I'm just going to go ahead and add a soft deformer to it, and then maybe mask these two, and then just try rotating it. Maybe mask this one too, and maybe this one. So now I'm just basically rotating or moving this part back and down. Let's see if that looks any better. Nope. Let's see if I can do this, if this looks better. No, it doesn't. So I'm just going to abort that. I'm just going to reset that thing, and I'm just going to accept it as that. I'm actually just going to go back to the way it was, like this. That's fine. That's good enough. All right. So I had some questions here. It's like a flat engine. Turn it on the backside. Can you turn this 180 degrees? What do you mean? Turn what 180 degrees? Easy. Okay. I think maybe I did what you wanted me to do anyway. All right. So there's that bottom part that's coming out of that area, and I wonder if what'll happen if I do this to it. Okay. And what if I want two of these? They're like this. Like that. And just mirror and weld it on the other side. Let's see what that looks like. That's kind of cool. I don't know. I kind of liked it in the middle. I'll just keep it there. And I liked it wide like this. All right, so there it is. Just keep that. And then let's go ahead and I'm still looking for something to put in here, right? So let's go back to our kitbash parts here and see if there's anything in this group that we just separated out that could work well in that area. This would be cool. Let's try and see what that looks like. So again, just select it, split hidden, copy it, and go back here. And it's going to come in huge again. So I'm just going to zoom out and paste. And where is it? Huge. All right, let's center that, make it much smaller. And I might not use the whole thing, so I might just use parts of it. So let's just make it smaller and pop it into that hole, see if it works. All right, how about doing this? That's looking pretty cool. Is it centered? Maybe not. So now it is centered. It's down here. And let's start moving it up until we like where it is. There we go. All right, that's kind of nice, but I don't know if I like the domeness of it. So here I'm just going to use the clip brushes. Let's see if this works on it. So I just want it to kind of maybe have that type of a top. That's good. And then maybe clip the sides. Symmetry on. Nope. Okay. Like that. So even though it's not sub D, I can still kind of hack at it, see if I can make something more interesting. So you can see kind of now it's starting to show those facets. So let's see if I dynamically subdid this thing, if it's going to look any better. Yeah, it's just popping out too much. Oh, that's good. Maybe like that. All right, so we've got that going on. kind of like it better this way. All right, so it's not really dynamic it's not a sub D model, but you can tweak it to make it work, and that's good. Right, so this is kind of what the drone is going to look like. And so once you're happy with all this, you can just go ahead and generate a boolean mesh to get the booleans to work, and then I mean, you can just load this into Keyshot too. This bottom thing is kind of sticking out though. I wonder if there's a way I can incorporate it. So here I'm going to try and move this again to somewhere else. Maybe not have it be on the bottom, maybe have it be on top. Like this. Maybe over here. Maybe to the front. Nope. Maybe in the back. Over here, like that. No, none of these look good. All right, I'll just leave it back here for now. All right, and I'm kind of not too happy about this thing, so I'm going to actually delete it. And I kind of like the way it is just like as a whole, but we got to put something that looks cool in there. All right, back to shopping for parts. Let's see if there's anything else that looks interesting here. Okay, so Akash, you're asking the same question somebody else did a while back. How am I going to get clean topology? So, ooh, this thing looks neat right here. How about this one? So the question is this used in production, right? Is your question? You know, maybe. I use it in production. When I'm asked to do things, I always use kitbash parts. I always use different things. Production is usually behind on things. Sometimes they're ahead, sometimes they're behind. Sometimes they do things more for financial reasons. And luckily for this stream, I don't really care about, I just basically, it's for my own kind of pleasure, so to speak, and yours. So I get to do whatever I want. But if I was in production, why wouldn't I use this? And again, it doesn't matter if the thing is going to deform, then you need clean topology. If it's not going to deform, you're fine. You can poly paint it with some of the new capabilities in ZBrush. You can give it the colors that you want. If you need to UV it, then you do need clean topology, and in which case I have a low-res version of that drone. But let's go ahead and do that. Since it's come up a couple of times, it's something that you guys are curious about, so let's do it. Let's go ahead and go here, right? And this is the object that we have, right? So what I'm going to do here is separate out the things that, like, for example, this thing doesn't really need to be attached to it. It could be separate, and I can retopologize that. These things are attached to it. The whole is attached to it. This is attached to it. This is attached to it. And this is attached to it. Okay, so this is kind of going to be my Boolean object. So I'm going to take these two out of it here. This one's out and this one's out. So all I have is all the parts that are, do I? No, this one stays in. Sorry. And then where did that other spaceship go? Did I move it into this group? I did. No, where did it go? All right, doesn't matter. Okay, so here, I basically have all of the parts that I want. So I'm going to hide everything else that I don't need to see. Why is this out of the exterior? Let's put that back. Okay, so here are all the parts that I am going to Boolean. So this is going to be the Boolean object, right? Okay, so the nice thing about folders is that you can just boolean the folder. So here I'm just going to go and click on this, and I'm going to say boolean with dynamic subdivision. That's fine. Let's do that. Bam. Okay, chug, chug, chug. Hopefully this doesn't crash, but we saved a while back, so we're good. So here it is. The boolean process is going on. So while that's happening, we'll look at some other questions. Oh, you're asking also if this is this for concept or final product? Well, either, right? I mean, it could be concept. I'll start it out as concept, and then eventually I will make it into a final product. But you do have to have the design done. So we're just basically working on designing it now, and then over time we will figure out whether we want this to be a final concept or if it's going to be, okay, so it's done, I think, right? And there is the piece that it created, right? So if I look at the geometry of this thing, it's all over the place, right? It looks like this, right? There's different pieces here. The topology is all wonky. So let's go ahead and see how well ZBrush can handle retopologizing this thing, right? So first thing I'm going to do is duplicate it so I have a copy of it. And then I'll just go to ZRemesher. All right, turn on detect hard edges, and let's just see what the default does. All right, so ZRemesh in progress. Blah, blah, blah. Right, it's a lot. This was pretty dense, so it's probably going to take a little bit of time, but you know, it's easier than retopologizing yourself. It's always good to give it a try, so I'll just let it do its thing. In the meantime, anybody else have any other questions? This would be a good time to ask. Wow, we got about 80 people here. That's great. Welcome everybody, and thanks for joining us. Oh man, I hope this is not going to take too long. It shouldn't. One other thing I could have done before doing this is I could have decimated it, which would have taken less time. But let's let it do its thing. Let's see how long this takes. Dark Sky Stormbringer. How's it going? Okay. So still kind of chugging away here. It's moving. That's good. What are my PC specifications? It's just an HP workstation. Nothing really that amazing. You don't really need that powerful of a PC for ZBrush. Most of the time I use it on my portable and when I'm at a job, and it works fine. I would say, you know, have at least 16 gigs of RAM. No, ZRemesh will work with decimated models. It doesn't matter. If I decimated it, it would have taken less time to decimate. Oh, error encountered, aborted. Didn't do it. All right, so what we'll do here is just to get this to work a little bit better is let's go ahead and decimate it. Let's try and see if that's going to help. Okay, so here we'll just go ahead and go to Z plugin, find decimation master. Okay, let's just pre-process current. Let's just make sure this is the copy. It is. Good. So pre-process current. Chug, chug, chug. And then when we decimate it, we just want to make sure we maintain the shape. And then once we do, that's going to be a lot less polygons for ZRemesher to figure itself out. So here we go. Again, the thing is we subdivided the crap out of this initial drone, so that's why it's kind of taking its sweet time. All right. see, do I have anything on my computer that I can kill to, oh yeah, there are. All right, that freed out a bunch of RAM. Hopefully that's going to make things move a little bit faster. All right. So the good thing is that this pre-processing, we don't have to do it again. It just gets done once, and then we'll just decimate it. Let's see what it looks like at 250,000 points. I think that should be good enough. All right, what's the time? Oh, wow, we got about half an hour to go. I kind of wanted to do a little bit of the interior today, too, so if this doesn't work, I'll just leave it as is. Okay, how limited is Sculptress compared to ZBrush? You know, I mean, ZBrush has so many more capabilities, so, you know, there's Sculptress, which is kind of free, it's nice. You can do sculpting. It's not really that good for doing hard surface stuff, but for organic you might be okay with it. But then there's ZBrush Core, which is a cheaper version of ZBrush. But if I were you, I'd just rent ZBrush. I'd just, you know, do the subscription. And if you just do the subscription, it's not that bad. You know, it's like the price of the game. I mean, now it's $30 for a month, so you get to work on it for a month for $30. So hopefully you kind of take a lesson or take some Z classroom lessons and try it out. And then if you like it, you can get the 6-month, which is cheap as well. And then if you really like it and use it every day like I do, then you just pay for it. Thing is, when I bought it in a long time ago, and the price has gone up over time, but I've never had to pay for an upgrade, which is great. Okay, do I do 3D printing? Yeah, I do. The Pixelogic cap, they gave it to me, but you can get. I think they have some. So you can see here the video is kind of getting dim. The video of me is getting dim because the computer is just like completely working on the. Let's turn autofocus on. See if that works better. Here we go. And let's do that. Okay, that's much better. Okay, so it's done. Yay. All right, so now let's go ahead and see what 250K does. There it is. Bam, done. That's pretty fast. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. Let's hide this one. There it is. That's not bad. Okay, so let's zero mesh this. So 250,000 polygons is a lot better to zero mesh. One thing I want to do here is I just want to do a mirror and weld. I mean, it is symmetric, so I just want to do a mirror and weld because that will make zero mesher's life a lot easier. And then let's turn off polyframe and let's do it. Let's do the zero mesh. Okay, so geometry, zero mesher, and let's just detect edges. Just leave everything as is, just defaults, and bam. So notice that this is flying a lot faster than it did before. All right, so the person that posted in Russian, hello, and but I don't read Russian, so I can't understand what you're saying. Maybe use a translator program and translate it to English, and I can respond to you. Okay. So it's still taking a little bit of time. Mr. Loney, hello, welcome. It's amazing how these are international. Like, there's people from all over the world. If you guys want to say where you're from, please do so. It's always interesting to see where from around the world you are. Oh, you're saying hello. Hello back. If you know, if you guys are coming in from different countries, like from Russia or Turkey, how's the reception? Oh wow, look at this. So this is what the zero mesher did, right? It basically gave me this, which is not that good, right? I mean, it's pretty messed up. So I'm going to try a couple of other things here to help it along. So I'm going to double the number here and do zero mesh again. So while that's happening, I can answer, okay, wow, Kenya, yikes, Italy, India, that is amazing. So how's the reception in these countries? You guys are getting me okay? The sound is good. The image is updating pretty well. Brazil, my gosh. I think I've got every continent here. All right. Well, hello to all, and thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. It's always fun to do this stuff with people live. I really enjoy these streams. So I'm going to do 2 more, maybe 1 or 2 more this season, and then I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to miss it. So I'll probably come back next year. Okay, look at this. This is not bad. All right, so this is clean topology. It looks like it's messy over here, but I can clean that up later. But just for pressing a button, I mean, you know, that's not bad. I'm just going to do a mirror and weld here. Yeah, that's not bad. So here, now that I've got this, I can go to half and zero mesh it 1 more time and see if I get good topology there. Sound is clear. Can't notice problems on the stream. Okay, well, that's great. Okay, I've got somebody from California. Hey, Richard. Are you in oh, hello from St. Petersburg. Hello back. Where are you in California? Are you in LA or are you in Northern California? All right, let's go ahead and do 1 more zero mesher here and with half. Let's see how that works. Now, it's not clean topology, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I can work with this. And then you can use UV Master to UV it, and then you can just load this into Substance Painter and paint it up. Okay, you're in San Francisco. Okay, Orange County. Wow. All right, so we got people from all over the place. Okay, all right, so that's how you basically do the zero meshing. This bottom part here is still a problem, but if you smooth it out like this and do a close holes, I think that's probably was the issue, is that it had these weird holes in there, and it looks like there's some weird geometry in here too. By the way, it's always good to do a check mesh and fix mesh. Yep, see, there were some issues, so fix mesh will fix those, and then zero mesh it yet again. And, you know, zero mesher takes a little bit of tweaking, but over time you get clean topology. It's not as clean as if you modeled it yourself, and it's, I mean, I'm very much into topology, but again, if you just want something quick and dirty, if you are on a tight schedule, zero mesher comes in really handy. I just used it quite a bit in a project I was just on, and I saved the company I worked for a lot of time. All right, so that's that. Let's go back. I'm not going to really worry about retopology right now because all I'm going to do is just render this thing. It's not going to be for a game or a production at all, and I'm not going to texture it in anything else. What just happened? Okay, so where is my model? Did I just delete everything? Oh, here we go. Visible count is 8. Why can't I see everybody else? What just happened? I think I just lost my model. That's weird. All right, now this is basically that. So here, let's go ahead and, I mean, you know, this kind of stuff happens. So let's go ahead and just go to quick save here and bring up the last thing we saved, which I think is this one, and we should be good. That's really weird. Polygroup with zero mesh will work good too. Yeah, you can polygroup stuff, and that definitely does help. All right, so here we are back to what we had. Do we still have all the parts? Yep, we do. All right, so I'm not really going to worry about these right now. And I mean, did I do delete other? I must have hit a delete button somewhere to kind of obliterate what I had, which is which is really odd because it's never really happened before. Okay, so there we go. I think this is kind of where we ended up. We're still looking for something to put in this top part, so let's do that. And then what I'm going to do is just combine all the drone parts into one and position it inside of the car. Okay, so it kind of looks like a manta ray. I kind of like the way it looks from on a standalone. But let's go ahead and go into these parts again. Click on solo. What are these parts right here? Is there anything cool in here we can use? Maybe this one right here. This one looks good. Whoops. Control A, split hidden. Okay, copy this, go back into the drone itself, turn off solo, and paste. Okay, once again, we just have to make sure that this is, let me try doing this, maybe this will make it a little bit faster. Unify it, FW, size, center it, move it over, and how did we want to use this? There we go. All right, I think this is going to work the best. So it's really not going to mess with the profile much, and it's just going to come out like this, and it's some other type of sensor that is going to be on top here, like that. It's not as aerodynamic as I'd like it to be, but maybe it kind of goes into that hole and then comes out. Comes out like this. All right, and then I could add another part down to here, but I think I've spent a lot of time on this drone, so at this point I'm just going to go ahead and put this inside. What does the other side of this look like? Okay, so I'm just going to put this inside like that, and call it a drone. Okay, so now I've got all these parts for the drone done. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and let's see if this does merge up. Is there something that merges all the parts? Merge folder. All right, let's do that. Merge folder. All right, and did that create a new drone for me with everything on it? What just happened? Oh, because it was Boolean. That's why. All right, I'll just use this Boolean one. How about that? And I'll just bring this piece into it, right? Or actually, why don't I do this? Yeah, I'll just bring this piece into it. I'm going to delete this last thing that let's make sure it's the right one. This one. Yeah, this is the one I want to delete right here. Gone. Yes. Okay, and what I want to do is take this Boolean one right here that I made and just add this one to it. So, duplicate that, move it out, and I'm going to move this back into this group. So this is just going to be like the drone construction group, and then there's this one and this one. All these guys I don't really care about anymore, so I'm just going to hide them. And then these two I'm going to just merge down. Okay. All right, so I've got my drone here, and then I'm just going to move my drone back into the car. Over here, exterior, like that. And let's bring the car back, and let's bring this back. Okay, so the car had a drone already in it at the angle I wanted it to be. So I'm going to hide that one, and I'm going to position this one where it's going to go. Okay, so there it is. Let's center that pivot on it and rotate it to where it should be. All right, so that's how the drone sits inside of the car, and then it just pops up and then flies away. And it kind of adds to the silhouette of the car. So this is what the car will look like from the side with this drone in it. Okay, and I do have a little place for it, so it just kind of pops out of there and flies off and does its thing. Let's see what it looks like from the back. Good. Yep, that is exactly the way I want it to be. Perfect. Okay, and what I really also like is that little thing I added adds coolness to the silhouette of it, so that's good. And now let's start kit bashing more of the car. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take all of the parts that I have of the car, right, all these, and I'm going to create a merged version of it, right? And then I'm going to start adding the kit bash parts. So here, I'm going to hide this. All I'm looking at is that. Make sure I'm not looking at anything else. All right, I can probably move this up to here. Okay, so all this is all I'm looking at. I'll just click on Merge Visible. And that's just going to create a part for me that is over here. And this is just the entire car as just one subtool, right? So now I just have this as one subtool. I can start adding a whole bunch of kitbash parts to it, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at some of those parts again. Are we doing on time? We're okay. I can go a little bit over today, but not too much. Let's go and see here what kind of parts we've got that we can add to the body. Okay, so these are more internal parts. Here is a ton of parts that we can add. I think I had a part that I wanted to use as a light. Whoa, what do we do here? All right. Let me go to the move tool here too, so we don't confuse. Right, so these are good, but not really what I want. These are okay, but not really what I want. And I'm just going to do something real quick here, make the document. Okay, so. All right, there's that one part that we had. Move up to here. What's going on with these parts? Okay, so here are some parts that I can add to the model. I love this radar dish. Let's see if I can incorporate it somehow. Here are some parts as well. I like this part too. Looks like a belt buckle, but it's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to use this one right here. So this is just going to be a light bulb. So select it, split hidden, and just unify it. Let's just do that here, and then copy it. Subtool, copy. Let's go into the car here and paste. Okay, whoa, how about that? Just gigantic. All right, let's unify it here as well. Unify. Okay, and there's the car. Where is this thing compared to the car? Is it somewhere off? Still gigantic, right? I'm going to unify the car too. Well, maybe not. I'll leave the car the size it is. Turn off solo. Okay, that was what was going on. All right, so here we go. What I want to do here is I'm going to make this into some sort of a light bulb or a light, and it's going to go in one of these grooves over here, right? But I don't like the way it is. I'm going to change it up. So first of all, let me resize it. Bring it over, put it in here. Turn off transparency for now. And it's going to go into this one hole over here like this. Make it smaller. Maybe a little bit smaller as well. Move it this way. And I like these four things. It looks like it's kind of connected now. And there's that. Okay. Marino, yes, that was the drone that sits on top. We put it in there. Do I have a link for the kitbash parts? Attentive. Yeah, I do. I should actually ask that guy to give me a cut of his. I'm just kidding. This is Oleg. I don't know if I'm going to say his last name correctly, but Ushanok. Oleg Ushanok is the name of the guy. He's got a bunch of these kitbash parts, so these panels are his. So he's got a ton of them. He's got a bunch of them. So a lot of these are from him. And then some of the others are, I think I just found them on ArtStation. I just did hard surface kitbash part search. And I came up with a bunch of really interesting ones. So let me see if I actually... One of the things that I do is when I save these kitbash parts, I usually put the name of the artist afterwards. So yeah, a lot of these are Oleg's ones. And then the ones, yeah, the panels are Oleg's as well. And then the vehicle attachment kit, I didn't put the guy's name in there, but we can find it. I got those from ArtStation. So let me just go to ArtStation here. it. And they were a little bit pricey, but I got the bundles. They weren't that bad. And just go marketplace here. And let's look for vehicle attachment parts. And they're these ones right here. Yeah, this is the guy. So Alexei is his name. And you just go to his page. No, why is he not? It is going to his page. Okay, so it's this guy, Alexei something or another, pi. Let's see if I do this. Let me yeah, this guy, Alexei Pyatov. Okay, so this guy, so he's basically made this entire space station with his kitbash parts. And so he's got these vehicle attachments, parts 1, 2, and 3, and then he's got the bundle. I bought the bundle. I think it was well worth the $37. I'll probably be using these forever, right? So these are the kitbash parts. They are on ArtStation. I think he might even have a Gumroad, so you might look, maybe it's cheaper in Gumroad. And he's from Irkutsk, Russia. So awesome kitbash parts. But again, these are all non-sub D parts, so you have to, if you're going to use them in production, you have to re-topologize them. So just kind of be aware of that. And here what we're going to do is just go ahead and do dynamic subdiv on this. And I'm going to center. I don't know why my pivot is way out of whack, but that's fine. Oh, what are you doing there? Okay, so now what we're going to do is use the extender here and just extend this out like this. Something really weird is happening with ZBrush right now. I don't know what it is, but it's just, here we go. And Y size, leave that to 1. And drag this out. So this is kind of the look I want. And let's see what that looks like. Good. And let's accept this for now. All right, and here we go. By the way, I just want to note that this is a new version of ZBrush 2020, and I've been using it for 2 hours straight, doing all sorts of interesting things with all sorts of models, and it is pretty stable. For a new version of a piece of software to be this stable, my hat's off to the developers. That's great. I'm sure they'll come up with a revision at some point, but for the new version to be this stable right out of the door is great. Okay, so that looks like it's going to be okay. Maybe move it further back like so. So that's going to be a light, right? So there it is. I like it. Let's just put it on the other side as well. There it is. Cool. So that's that, right? So it looks like it kind of belongs in that area like that. And it's got enough depth in there to create visual interest if like the car is moving and whatnot. It's gonna kind of work. And then here I'm just gonna try and see like if I can get to put the same thing in here too. So if I get just 4 of those like this. All right, so here I'm just gonna unmask it, select these 2, delete hidden, and mirror and weld just to get them in place. There they are. That kind of looks cool. I like it. All right, so I'm just going to keep them there. So these are just going to be lights, and I might adjust these ones a little bit more to kind of accommodate for it, but I think for now this is fine. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we can put inside of this area. And so again, I'm just going to go back to my parts. Let's see, any questions? Okay, so Oleg has a Gumroad as well. Somebody posted it on the chat. Great. And let's see. I'm late. Okay, so is this kitbash high poly? So they're kind of, you know, they're basically, I think they create these things in CAD programs. So maybe he did it in Fusion or Moy or something like that, but this is kind of what they look like. I'll show you. I'll pick this set right here, solo it out, and I'll go to wireframe. You can see what it's like. Here, I'll take the colors out. Right, so these are what they look like. So they're pretty high poly. They're okay. As I told you, some of them have issues. So I'll let him know. I'll probably send him an email, say your models have certain issues when you load them into ZBrush. Maybe he can fix them, or maybe you know, he can export them differently or whatnot. But this is what they look like. So the poly, you know, it's not bad. It's basically just, you know, exported out of some sort of a CAD program. I'm pretty sure he either uses Fusion or uses Moi or one of those programs. Okay. All right, so I'm looking for now another kind of a flatter part to go in that top area. So let's see if there's anything good. This antenna is good. I'll probably be using the crap out of that one soon. But let's see if anything. I mean, even if it's not flat, I can probably use extender. This thing might work. This might work too. Whoa, what about this one right here? Yep, that'll do. All right, so I'm just going to pick this part right here. Delete hidden or split hidden. Right, and then let's unify it. Right, F, copy, and let's paste it into our car. Where is our car? Here it is. Okay, so there it is. So we will go ahead and, I don't know where it's adding these things. Interior, exterior. Okay, the exterior, and just paste it there. Let's turn off solo. I'm going to unify it one more time in here. WF. There it is. Okay. And what if we put this part? What happened to all those things that I had earlier? Is anything hidden? Oh, that's right. I didn't add it to this car. I added it to the one that just basically had that unified body. Okay, so copy this, delete it, or let's just paste it first. So it's in this one. Right here. Right? This one is the one that's going to have all the parts. So then I can just delete the car and bring all the parts in to the other thing. So here I'm just going to paste this. And right there. And move it into this area right here. Right? So that's basically going to be like some sort of a sensor or some sort of a object inside. Go to transparency here and make this thinner, bring it out. So it's got to fit somehow in this area and have some sort of interesting thing showing up, right? So maybe there. Just want to make sure it doesn't protrude out. Okay, that's good. Let's turn transparency off. See what that looks like. Okay, that's okay. Right, and this could be some sort of a light or something. I mean, I could have it stick out a little bit too if it's smaller. I don't know. That's one idea. Maybe I'll try something else. Are we doing on time? Okay, so we're at 9 o'clock. I'll probably do a little bit more. I would do more, but I'm tired. It's been a long week. All right, let's see. That looks kind of okay, but then I'd have to make provisions for it. Let's see. Would it look good from the top? If there's just this rectangular thing sticking out like that. No, I'm not happy with it. It's going to go away. Delete. So as you can see with design, there's a lot of trial and error. Sometimes you get happy accidents, and sometimes you don't. So, especially if you're working with a new kitbash parts, you're always experimenting and figuring out what works and what does not work. So yeah, let's solo this out. Let's go back to that set here, see if there's anything else that might work well in that little area. This looks a little bit interesting. And we can add a couple of ones. And this looks like a perfect thing for a gun. But let's explore a bit more. I don't know, do we look at these guys? Ooh, what about if we have something like this? Yep, that's what we're going to do. So here, I'm going to use this one right here. This one would be interesting too, but this one. Okay, and split hidden, and then copy, go to this guy, paste, and let's unify it. W, there it is. Oops. And pop it in here like so. Of course, not that big. But what if it kind of came out just a little bit like that? Let's see what that looks like. No, it doesn't work. Let's see if we can use this somewhere else. Let's see. You can use this maybe as undercarriage, so I'm going to try and see if it works well on the bottom over here. And maybe have these kind of come out of the scoop in the back. So, you know, sometimes it's always, you can use things in different areas if they don't work in where you initially had them. It's a bit too big, maybe a bit smaller, and maybe kind of position them so they are coming out of this area in the back. Oops. Like this. See what that looks like this way. All right, kind of looking okay. Remember, again, this is something that can come out and go back in. So I'm kind of trying to see if that would work. So remember, if the car lands, you know, there has to be something in the back that makes up for that space. I'm just gonna reset the gizmo for now. Again, this is just trial and error. That's okay. Maybe on the other side. Like that. All right, and then let's just duplicate that to the other side, see what that looks like. It's okay. I'll just leave it there for now. I don't really need to make that decision. But I still have to figure out what to fit in this area, which is going to be more like some sort of a light or something. So let's go back to our kitbash. I'll figure that out, and I think that's when I'll call it a night. So let's go back to solo, go back to these parts. Let's see if there's anything else that will work. Okay. Ask about getting ZBrush. I just wanted to thank you for the advice. Cheers. Okay, Marino, sure, anytime. Happy to help the folks at Pixelogic. They've been amazing to me. Basically, my entire career is based on what they do. So any help I can give anybody else on anything about ZBrush, I'm more than happy to do it. All right, what part would fit good in that area? Maybe these. Let's, maybe that's a good idea. Like these 3 different tubes. What's this one? No. How about this? Let's see what that would look like. Okay. Copy. And let's go back to the car. And unsolo, paste. Right, and let's unify this thing. Kind of looks cool right there. Let's make it smaller, pop it in there, see if this works well. I kind of like it. I think that's going to be okay there. Make it smaller like that. Cool. And I'll probably adjust the car a little bit to fit that too, but that's good. Maybe this is some sort of like, another type of a sensor or light. That's good. Let's just put one on the other side. Yeah, so you can see now all of a sudden like all those clean lines of the car are getting interesting details. I need to put certain things in here too, but let's move this around a bit. And possibly move it in just a tiny bit. So it's protruding, but not too much. All right, so let's see if there's some last minute questions. I think this would be a good time to stop. I'm basically gonna be doing some of this off screen. So I'm gonna be doing exactly what I'm doing here, but I will populate the inside of the car as well, because when I rendered this part, it was glass. So we are going to see inside the cockpit. I mean, not too much, but we are definitely going to see inside. So here, let me hide the cockpit itself. So inside, and I guess I should pop in the interior, right? So when we have these, we made the chairs. I think there was an episode where we made the chairs. So there's going to be a lot of different pieces in here that kind of add visual interest. So I'm going to kitbash a bunch of parts in here. I'm going to kitbash some parts in the back here where these windows are. So let me show you what that would be. I guess I just select it this way. Where is it? There. I'll hide these ones too. So in here there'll be a bunch of kitbash parts as well that show up. There'll probably be some kitbash parts in here just in case the drone takes off. And then I'm going to put some police lights and stuff on top of the spoiler. So we're getting pretty close to being done with this. So I'm going to do a lot of that work maybe off camera. And if you guys are interested in seeing it, I might just record what I'm doing and maybe throw it out there on YouTube or something. But it's basically going to be exactly what I'm doing here. Same kind of thing, just picking parts, popping them in. And then once I'm done, then we're basically done with the modeling. And next time, we'll probably just spend a lot of time rendering this thing, maybe creating a little environment for it, and creating a good composition that will end this kind of series of episodes. So, okay, Much Tato has potato on his mind, it seems like. It's in his name, and he's also talking about it in his post. And, okay, so thanks, everybody. I guess we got about 83 people at this point. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. And, again, if you want to watch anything that you didn't see here, maybe if you want to watch it again, watch different parts of it, you can. This will be available on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, and it'll be there pretty much for a long time. So make sure you kind of go back and watch it. And if you are watching it, then and you have questions, tune in next time live and ask me the questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. So good night, good morning, good day, everybody, and we will see you in a couple of weeks on the 29th. Bye-bye.